In today's video, we're looking at the championship final match on Hydroelectric. This was the first map of the best of 9, and we're going to be taking a look at the New York subliners on this P1 to P2 rotation. I'm going to cover some of the smaller details that a lot of players might not realize that they are actually doing in regards to positioning, spawns and timing, and how they can actually lead to a really good rotation, especially when they go from their P2 to their P3, because that's where you're going to see most of that detail actually come together and result in a really good rotation. So to start off, let's just observe the scenario. So there's 44 seconds left on this P1, good bit of time, so they definitely want to be fighting this. Toronto's actually spawned out on this side of the map, which is good for the subliners. This is the unfavorable spawn. The one you want on this one is, like, you know, back in here somewhere there. So in this current situation, subliners, of course, they're up big in the game. We're just gonna kind of ignore that and just look at the map for the most part here. But 7's in a good spot as an anchor. That's Kismet sitting in the back, and 8 and whoever else this is are just playing on the hill. So let's go ahead and play this out. Basically, the only thing you need to know here is with Kismet here and no Toronto players even close to back here, they're in a good spot right now. We'll see how they handle this push from Toronto as they try to push towards the point here. Let me play it. So it looks like Toronto sends 2 mid, and then 1 lurking on the outside of the map here. So as we get these kills, let's take into account where the spawns come in. Also, look at this fight here between 5 and 3. This is going to be a big rotational fight going from P1 to P2, because whoever wins this 101 is probably going to get the favorable spawns, unless they get bailed out by one of the New York subliners actually spawning here before 3 even gets back here to influence it, which I think is what happens. So let's take a look here. So yeah, he immediately already gets to spawn there. Priesta spawns behind Hydra. So even though 3's trying to break through, he's now, instead of in a 1v1, he's in at least a 1v2, just because of the timing of that spawn. 3 does win that 1v1, but at this point there's already 2 other subliners there, and they're already focused on rotation. So at this point, nobody's on the hill. Toronto's, you know, probably going to pick up that scrap time. But Toronto, or New York rather, is already, you know, focused on this P2, because this is a really big point on this map. Really hard to break, and really important to have a good rotation if you want to hold a lot of P2 time. And notice how they're already getting, or Priest is actually already getting a kill on rotation here. He knows he can push out safely because he has 5 behind him, because at this point you really don't want to be pushing past, you know, this kind of dome area, maybe somewhere in here. You do not want to push out past that if you are the subliners. They do have someone spawn out here, but that's just because of the way the spawns were and the timing of the kills. Let's go ahead and play farther on. Now Toronto actually does have someone spawn in the back, and that's because 5 here actually pushed up too far. They should have stayed back here, or Priesta should have stayed here in one of those anchor spots. So they messed up a little bit there, but it's not too bad for them because they still have pretty much a 2-on-1 back here. And we'll see if they recognize it. I don't think they really recognize it, but they do end up actually getting taken out there by 4. So 4 is really trying to play this spot now. He actually has 1 coming to help him, so let's actually see how this plays out. So pretty much Priesta ends up winning a huge 1v1 for the rotation, which pretty much seals that rotation and those back spawns for his teammates. And 1 actually ends up going back into dome, and they pretty much, for the most part, get a squad wipe here. And now you can see the new hill just popped. Ultra's all spawning way over here, and they have, New York has an anchor that's probably going to pick up hill time, and they also have someone in dome, and then they also have Hydra here, which is a big part of this sequence we're going to see next. Hydra's over here pushed up, knowing his teammates have good position. They just got 4 down, and he's actually just going to play spoiler and just try to cut people off as they're trying to, you know, maneuver through and rotate off those deep spawns. So Hydra is just going to be a thorn in their side, and we're going to see how that plays out really well with just the overall teamwork they have going on. At this point, I mean, The subliners are in the best setup you could get in this scenario. I mean, you have someone watching this full dome side, so that's good. You have 8 who's going to pick up that hill time. Then you have 7. Kismet's going to go over here on this rock spot, and he can, you know, watch mid here and a little bit of outer. And you pretty much have a great setup here, as well as you have Hydra push out. And if any kills he gets way over here is going to be so beneficial, because it's going to buy so much more time on that hard point for free, because it's going to just, whoever he kills, they're going to just spawn right back out like over here. So it's just going to buy even more time for the subliners to just soak that time. So let's go ahead and play it out here. So keep in mind, Kismet on the anchor and number 5 Hydra going to be being the thorn in the side, and here he is. He gets 1, 2, playing a ratty corner, just plays it so good. Immediately switches position to go attack a different angle. And I think he spots the guy mid, gives that information. So now at this point, subliners are, or Toronto rather, are opting to try to push this left side because they really need to break and secure these back spawns. So what we're going to see here is Kismet just holding down. He had a heck of a game. He's 18-9 here. He took over this series at the championship final, and he just does a great job here, just playing the angles. They're calming, and Kismet just ends up getting these kills here. Plays his life here, gets a little weak. Skies also has a crossfire on him to help him from dome. That's also probably an underappreciated thing. So Skies is right up here, and he's able to shoot across and just give some support to Kismet. If we look at the map here, the map version, he's able to look across here and actually help Kismet on that cross. And crosses are super important when holding setups, and they did it perfectly here in this example. And he actually pulls out the pistol, gets a kill. Now what's really important at this point is you got to think about rotation already. Most people that are, you know, lower ranked in the game or don't really think about it, at 30 seconds they're still going to be trying to push, and they're also just going to be holding maybe more than they need to. And this is where you're going to see an absolutely perfect full rotation come in from the subliner. So notice how they just got these 3 kills here, or 2 kills here. Kismet's already leaving that anchor spot. They, at 30 seconds or less, they really don't even want these back spawns anymore, because they're going to be more concerned about getting to that next point, which is over here in this building. So take notice of how Kismet plays this. He starts pushing up, because in order to get these back spawns, I think you need to be, you know, behind I think behind this red line somewhere in here. So by him pushing up, we're going to see how it plays out. So he pushes out, gets another kill. Now Toronto actually at this point is on this new hill, but watch what happens whenever Skies and Hydra go over here and get some kills, along with, you know, Kismet's on his way there as well. Basically they forfeit these back spawns, and this is where you want the enemy spawning, because, you know, with 20 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever the scrap time is it's going to be left, you want Toronto, or the opponent, spawning back here. You no longer want them, because the favorable spawns turn unfavorable when you are looking to, you know, have a good rotation. So let's see how this plays out, how these gunfights go down. So looks like Hydra gets behind him, he gets 1, Guys gets 1, Kismet gets another one, and just like that, they almost wipe Toronto. And we'll see where the spawns come in. So yeah, they're perfect example here. Scrap just spawns all the way back here. Priest is also aware of this, so notice how his arrows flipped. You know, he's playing to, you know, get that scrap time as much as he can, and he knows they're probably going to be spawning back here, so he's already, you know, aware of that and watching it. And it's just a great rotation. They actually do get a little odd split spawn for some reason, and these, you know, little things can always happen even at the pro level, where you just can't always read spawns in some of these games. But, you know, 4 does spawn here, but look at this. These guys are spawning all the way on the other side of the map, and there's 10 seconds left. And they now, you know, it's 2v1 on hill. They're going to win it right here. Hydra gets that kill. Also notice, this is kind of crazy. Went back a little too much. So watch this spawn here. Watch the yellow spawn right here. So boom, 2 Toronto players spawn out. 1, 3. Hydra spawns right here, number 5, right on the hard point with his teammates after they get that kill on Hixie. So, I mean, he doesn't have to run across the map. He spawns right there at new. 10 seconds of scrap. Priest is, over there locking down that scrap time. And if Priest dies at this point, it doesn't matter because then he's going to spawn probably back here with his team. If he does die before the hill actually is gone and the new one pops, and he might spawn back here if these guys push out. But that's not too big of a deal in this overall scenario. So let's just see how this full rotation ends up playing out. I mean, 2 is already spawning back here too. Priest is just over here being annoying, getting that scrap time. And then, I mean, pretty much all 3 of them spawn out. 1 scraps all alone in a 1v3. 7, Kismet is already back here on the anchor spot, making sure no one gets up behind him, because at this point, the close spawns on this point are back here. So he's already, switched and he's playing that anchor position now. And at this point, they're up big on the game. So, there you see the new hill pops, they spawn there. There is actually a Toronto player on hill, but he's a little bit surrounded. Toronto does end up picking up some kills here. But anyways, I think I'm going to end that there. As you can see, New York is in a good situation here to break because they have the close spawns at the moment. And I'll play it out just because I'm curious if they actually broke it or not. But hopefully showing that rotation from P1 to P2 and then to P3 especially highlights some of the important little plays they were able to make, which leads to a good rotating hardpoint team. And you can see they find the kills and they're able to pick up the time and win the game and ultimately win the world championship. But hopefully this was a good breakdown. I'm looking forward to doing this in MW3 once I learn those maps and modes and whatever that's going to be like. So if you enjoyed this type of video, be sure to comment below and leave me some feedback. Like the video and subscribe. But thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.